Hello and welcome to Movie Film Studios, the only podcast that takes you inside the mind of two film studio executives as we unravel and then re-ravel the best that Hollywood has to offer. I'm Isaac.
And I'm AJ, and this week we assembled a collection of elderly sports stars to discover and steal an alien weapon buried deep in the home of a comic book author. But before we get into something new, it's time for something old as we check in on our last feature in Box Office Report.
Last week we did a loosely biographical. Loose is a very is not even really the right word.
We took some liberties, and I use the word some loosely.
Yeah, we took all of the liberties.
All of them, yeah.
And made a film about the rivalry between Bill Watterson and Jim Davis.
Yep.
In a film that we called Striped, if you went to a lower grade cinema, or Stripped if you paid a little bit more money for your ticket.
That's right. Now, I'm pleased to say this film was a roaring success. Both versions of the film did incredibly well. We released on April 25th because no other comic book film came out on that day at all. But it seems like there's apparently an appetite for comic book or comic-based films at the moment. So, film did spectacularly well, both versions of it. The only snag we've run into is, so we we wanted to do a film on two American comic book legends.
And
right?
don't forget Kathy also.
And Kathy also stars as well.
And Charles Schultz. So really four. But, you know.
So, well, yeah, that's the thing. We added so many comic book authors to this film. So we chose our two main characters were, of course, Jim Davis and Bill Watterson, author of Garfield and Calvin and Hobbes, respectively. Now, we released our film. All was fine. But another legendary comic book author got very annoyed that he wasn't considered at all, and that is Gary Larson.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We forgot about Gary.
We forgot about Gary.
I'm like, I don't even know who did Wizard of Id or Hagar the Horrible or...
the Phantom as well.
Yeah. I know. Oh, wait, Lee Falk. Created the Phantom. He's probably been dead for 60 years.
We've also forgotten about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gary Larson.
I forgot about Gary.
Gary Larson got so irritated that he wasn't considered, he wasn't called. He even knew Jim Davis, I think, back in the day. He got so annoyed, he decided to make his own biopic just about himself. And in the same way that we took liberties with our story, he took many liberties with his story.
Really?
Yeah. So his particular film, he starts off born to like the king and queen of Scotland for some reason.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't even know if Scotland ever had a king and queen, or at least...
They absolutely did.
Well, not in the time that he was alive.
Probably not. I mean, they rolled into the United Kingdom.
Yep, okay. So, yeah, and then he was, like, put into a metal container, a metal canister, and just tossed out to sea because the Scottish royals at the time were under siege. And so the queen gave birth, and they were like, well, we can't hold on to this son. He's going to get discovered and killed. So they put him in a metal canister and just tossed him out the ocean. He traveled all the way around the world on a journey that took about, I don't know, 6 months.
2.5 hours, I thought you were going to say. The length of the film, somewhat coincidentally, shot in real time.
No, and eventually made it to America. He crawled out of his canister, a mere 6-month-old toddler, and started making a name for himself, drawing crude comics in the sand.
And is it called, is the comic called because he reached the far side of the world?
Exactly right. That's where he got it from.
I never knew that was what it was about.
It's insane, right? And so it just sort of looks at his legendary rise as the ultimate comic book author in America. It doesn't even, like, he basically credits himself with coming up with the idea for Garfield, for coming up with the idea for Calvin and Hobbes, for Peanuts, for Kathy, for every single American comic. He is somehow the originator of them, according to his film.
See, this is really... Because, I mean, there would have been, like, the perfect role for the offside a best friend of
Yeah.
both of them who is torn between the two.
I know.
Like, he would have fit so perfectly in our
I know.
film if we just remembered him.
I know.
And instead he's had to go off and
make his own film.
Is every woman in that in his film
Yep.
like a 50s housewife with a beehive hairdo and triangular glasses
Yes.
like they are in all?
Yes.
And all the cows have like a weird like single line that's supposed to represent both of their eyes as they
Yes,
stand it.
correct.
Yeah.
So that's that film. And it is equally doing well.
Yeah,
we're
I
kind of
mean-
neck and neck at the box office,
I mean-
and he's only got one film. We've got two of them out.
Exactly. I mean, you wouldn't want to. I mean, don't if you're keeping score at home, don't go check the box office results at the moment. They're slightly skewed in
Yeah.
favor of a little film called Avengers.
Yeah.
I think while they do, you know how they do box office reports is like they compensate for inflation.
Yeah.
So like Wizard of Oz is the highest grossing film, or Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
I think at the same time they also have to go, well, you know, Stripped or Striped is the highest grossing film if you compensate for the fact that Avengers stole half of their studio going audience, because
Half?
it's
Wow.
just not fair to compare
No.
anything with the Avengers at the
No,
moment.
no. Of course, neither of us have seen the Avengers yet because we
No.
were too busy releasing our own films. But that's Striped and Stripped. Done and dusted.
Done and dusted. I believe that brings us on to our next segment. It's
Indeed.
This Week in Trailers.
This week in trailers. And first up for you, we have a sci-fi mystery thriller action film in Kin.
Kin, yeah.
Directed, from the producers of Arrival and Stranger Things.
Yeah, another one of from the producers that
Yes.
is supposed to give you a bit of a sense of what the style of the film is. And
Yeah.
it is. Like, if you go with Stranger Things as being a slightly horror kids, like, you know, kids are in a
Yeah.
horror, and then Arrival as being some sort of alien encounter. It's sort of both of those things. A
Yeah.
kid finds what looks like an alien who lands on Earth and has a blaster gun, like a long sci-fi
Yeah.
rifle that you would have seen something very similar in Mass Effect or Destiny or any
Yep.
of those sci-fi video games. And he finds it. At the same time, his older half-brother is released from jail on probation of some description.
Yep.
And then it sort of becomes like a buddy film of this young kid and his much older brother forming a bond.
Yep.
Mainly due to the fact that the older brother's criminal past is trying to get him and is aware that the little kid has a sci-fi gun.
Yeah.
And they're being chased by the military.
Yeah.
By some sort of like alien faction maybe, or maybe they're just super high-tech government agents, by criminal factions, by everyone. They're out to get him, and it's the bonding story of these two characters as
Yeah.
they go through this ordeal.
I mean, you say buddy cop, and to me, like, the defining trademark of a buddy cop or a buddy film, is levity, and this film doesn't look like it has
No.
any whatsoever. It kind of starts out as what looks like a bit of a commentary on sort of the socio-political climate of America at
There's
the moment.
a little kid driving through the streets and the houses are torn down, and he's
Yeah.
going through, and Dennis Quaid, who's the dad's like, "I'd only treat you bad, I'd only treat you tough, son, because the streets out there are tough,
Yeah.
and I need to toughen you up for those tough streets."
It's a lot of that. So whether or not this film will actually go down a little bit of a Stranger Things route with a little bit of levity would be nice.
It would be nice.
It would be very nice, because this looks quite grim.
Yeah, quite grim and serious,
Yeah.
and lots of, like, I'm not sure if the little kid is like shooting this gun at people and like they sort of disintegrate into dust like a good sci-fi rifle does.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you making the little kid like kill people? What's going on here?
Possibly. It could be one of those films. Who knows? But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we normally use the word near future sci-fi.
Yep.
This is very much present sci-fi, like of the
Yeah.
present. That near future is probably a bit too far away, apparently, for the guys who bring you Kin.
Indeed.
Also worth mentioning, James Franco makes a cameo as a greasy thug criminal underbelly type in this.
yeah, kind of reprising his role from Spring Breakers.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of very tattooed and dreadlocked and teeth capped.
Yeah.
Kind of a gangster crime lord. And he's really like... there's not really a lot of well-known actors in this film. It's really him, Quaid, and Zoe Kravitz. The two leads are actors I've never really come across before.
I mean, and that's all right for you know, an adolescent teen coming out on probation and a young African American kid. You kind of think, actually cast unknowns in that. That's fine. It's
Yeah.
probably the perfect roles for people to have breakout performances.
It worked for Stranger Things. It worked for those aliens in Arrival. They were freshly. All right, that's out later this year in August. There you go, some actual facts on Movie Film Studios. All right, trailer number 2. Let's switch gears a little bit and go for a sports film.
Yeah, right.
In Uncle Drew.
I had really hoped when this trailer came up it was going to be a sequel to Uncle
Buck.
Not quite. This is based on a Pepsi Max commercial.
Yeah.
Where I don't actually remember which American basketballer it was, or whether it was a professional basketballer, but they used prosthetics to put old man face over this guy who's an insanely good basketballer, and he went to like these street ball places where these young kids are playing ball, and they're like, "Oh, can I have a go, Sonny?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, sure, whatever." And then this guy just schools them absolutely, like behind the back trick shot dunks and nimble dribbling it between people's legs, making people fall over because he's cutting it in and out too quickly. And, it was just insane. YouTube got, obviously the ad was up there, went viral. And they started doing it with other sports. I think Cristiano Ronaldo does one in Spain with soccer. I think other athletes have done the same thing. So this Pepsi Max ad / YouTube video now has its own film where it's we have to put together an ensemble cast and they're all prosthetically aged NBA stars. So you have Shaquille O'Neal, Kyrie Irving, Reggie Miller, sort of
all these like legendary NBA players who I think most of them have retired. They're not really actively playing as far as I'm aware.
Kyrie Irving still is.
Okay, fair enough. But they're all in like, really thick prosthetics to make them look old, but not really in a way that's done well.
Yes, but I think it's deliberately bad. Like, you don't, if you were to make them actually look properly old, you probably couldn't recognize that it's Shaq.
Yeah, I think that's the balance you have to sort of toe the line there to make sure, oh yeah, that is just Shaq in some old man makeup. But like, none of the characters in the film know it's Shaq. I want to actually mention that this film is a Pepsi production. So this is like, I'm not like, this isn't like one of the production teams on this is Pepsi Productions.
I didn't realize.
I'm not even kidding. This is going back to like the glory days of when Pepsi just used to do weird things. Do you remember, like, you probably don't, but like in Japan, Pepsi released a video game for the original PlayStation called Pepsi Man, and it's this like incredibly difficult arcade style game where you play as this like completely blue body skin character who runs through the streets collecting cans of Pepsi. And it's like, what is this what Pepsi is doing now, like to differentiate themselves from Coke? It's like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's make a film based on a TV commercial.
The question
that we
is,
made.
what do they do next? Do they do a film based on Kylie Jenner bringing peace to the world by handing out Pepsi to soldiers?
That's right, yeah. I mean, maybe that's the thing. Maybe they, like, that probably wasn't an ad. That was probably like, oh, I wonder how can we achieve world peace? I know. Let's get one of the Jenners together to like.
You say one of the Jenners. I said Kylie. It could have been. I said Kendall. Could have been Kylie.
I think it's Kendall.
Could have been. I don't know. It's one of them.
Yeah.
And
who cares? But
she is the sole person who can bring peace to the world through refrigerated carbonated beverages.
I think we just need to now look at. I mean, that's now for us, or for me personally. It says to me that we don't need to look at public domain books. We don't need to look at like the next up and coming author. No, we just flick on the TV, see what ad is running, and then just think, can we make a movie out of that? Because they've done it for board games, they've done it for video games, they've done it for short stories, books, whatever, and now TV ads.
Yes, I mean the same sort of thing. Anything that goes viral on YouTube, you've got just an inbuilt audience right there. Yeah. You can pick anything you want.
Yeah, it's I don't know. See that if you want later this year in June. Okay.
So what's with you telling people the release dates?
I don't know.
It's you're promoting these films.
I don't know.
Don't go watch that. Watch whatever film we base off it, which will be coming out June -1. Like whatever the month before June is. May, I think. Ours will be out first.
Okay. All right. And the third and final film that you shouldn't see ever is...
Don't worry. He won't get far on foot.
Yes.
A mouthful of a title.
Indeed.
Brought to you only by a director like Gus Van Sant.
Indeed, yes.
Who did Good Will Hunting.
Did Good Will Hunting, did Milk, and also did the shot-for-shot remake of Psycho, which was utterly awful. No one casts Vince Vaughn in a role that's meant to be dramatic and very, very creepy because he just does not do a good job of it, and that film was a disaster. So Gus Van Sant's sort of been out of the limelight for a little bit.
I wouldn't be surprised if we went, he did a film called... something weird, and no one's heard of it.
But this
has Viggo Mortensen in it for some really weird reason.
This film is actually an Amazon film, so it's sort of what we were talking about a couple of episodes ago. The Director's Graveyard. It's not only confined to Netflix, it's also Amazon Film Studios.
Amazon also has a Valley of the Kings.
Indeed.
Full of fossilized relics.
Indeed. So this is a biopic of an American comic book artist and an artist by the name of John Callahan.
That sounds like an interesting subject matter.
No, yeah.
I wonder which studio's already beat them to the punch.
This is the thing. So we, as much as as you may not believe it, we don't look at what's coming up. We only check the trailers 10 minutes before we start recording these things. So we had no idea that Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot existed. We didn't know that it was coming out. We knew nothing about it until we saw the trailer for it. And then we were like, well, they've just made our film.
Yeah, they've just made a film based on a real-life American comic book author. It doesn't have quite the same sort of tension and that ours did. This has a lot of big names in it. You've got River Phoenix, Jack Black, Jonah Hill.
Joaquin Phoenix.
No, he wears a vial of his... Actually, I probably won't go that. That's a bit dark. It is Joaquin. I apologize. River Phoenix, sadly unable to appear in this film.
Yes. Or any other for that matter. So Joaquin Phoenix plays John Callahan, who... it starts off him sort of having a bit of a freeloading life, a bit of an alcoholic, and then gets into a car accident and loses his legs. Like he's not able to walk anymore. He becomes a paraplegic. And he's then confined to a wheelchair, and then goes to a lot of support groups and self-help groups, and then discovers his abilities as a comic book author.
It's sort of a rebirth. He teaches himself a skill, and these comics are apparently quite lewd. They deal with
a bit macabre,
subject matter of disability and a whole bunch of factors. And I think that's where he earned his renown as a comic author.
Yeah. Now this film this trailer rather has those lovely placards that suggest that this is Gus Van Sant's best film to date.
Jonah Hill's performance is a masterclass. Joaquin Phoenix, best role in years.
Yep.
Everyone apparently is just knocking it out of the park, if it's to be believed.
That's right. It also makes me wonder who hasn't seen this film yet, because the amount of people in there that are commenting on it suggests that it's come out already, and you just haven't seen it, and this is now the re-release or the Blu-ray release, and it's now time for you to go and see it. I really hate when films do that, because it makes me think, have I missed the boat?
It's like the next black screen is, you're missing out. We've already seen it. It's really good. I felt that way about 3 Billboards. I'd already heard everyone rave about how good it was, and it hadn't come out in Australia. Still haven't watched it. And this sort of feels the same. It's like, we've all seen it, and we're all really good with films. We see all the good films. Why haven't you seen it yet?
I wonder if you can get one of those placards to just spoil the film entirely.
Yeah.
Just list out the plot points after the trailer is run. After you're interested in the film and you get that 4 stars, so-and-so's performance is out of this world, and then just the next one is just so then this happens and then this happens.
What they actually should do, instead of cherry picking the best ones, is actually just sort of pick out title cards that are randomly selected from the IMDb comments.
Yep.
It's Jonah Hill's lost a lot of weight. He kind of looks creepy.
I think that's something that Deadpool 2 is doing. Its IMDb entry page for the plot synopsis has nothing to do with Deadpool 2, the film. I think it talks about an animated turtle at some point, and it's just, it sort of fits that film. But I agree. I kind of want someone to just do that. Just take the worst the worst rated comments, the worst rated reviews from Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb. Just have them up there. I would go see that.
Look, I think, just to be fair, it should be an adequate sample size. Like, where they're cherry picking like the top percentage of the best comments. It's not giving fair representation to people who didn't enjoy it that much. You gave it 3 stars or 2.5 stars.
Yeah.
And like people like me, I'm not going to go see the film.
That's right.
But if someone who gave it 2.5 stars said, I really didn't feel like watching it, but it was kind of all right. In there, I'm going like,
yeah,
you know what? Thank you.
Like I said.
Thank you, Joe Everyman, for putting your little title card in the middle of the trailer.
Yeah.
You've convinced me that I still won't see it.
I'd be less suspicious of a film. I think, to me personally, the more like accolades they put in there, the more like wary I am of it not being that good. Like, if they balance it out and just added in, like, yeah, it was all right. Like, you know, walked out halfway through it and was a bit bored. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I might go see that now.
Yeah, indeed.
All right. Those are the 3 trailers for this week's episode.
A bit of a mixed bag from our normal
one. Very mixed bag.
Where's the beloved kids animated film?
We skipped that
one.
We
skipped it. It's coming out. It's called Littlefoot. We can't do a kids animated film every week, even though there definitely is one coming out every week.
It crushed my soul, I'm sorry to say. All right. But of course, before we do anything with those 3 trailers, we're going to have to take a little walk to the green room.
All right, that was deliciously refreshing.
It is. It's getting cold out there.
I believe I chose last week to
yes, you did
to base a film off Mary Shelley, which was the trailer we watched. Definitely very similar to the film we came up with.
Yep.
This week you have 3 options. The first one being a present sci-fi buddy action adventure road trip kind of film.
Yep.
We have a sports film. Not necessarily even a sports film, but a film based off a ad/YouTube video, which has a bit of an ensemble cast of potentially professional athletes. It depends what the YouTube/video is. And finally, a biopic about a American comic book artist.
Okay. Well, I mean, it would be nice to just follow up Striped/Stripped with...
Striped 2/Stripped 2.
That's right. The stripening. But
maybe then we could make Gary Larson a bit happy and actually finally cast him.
Cast him in it, yep. But I think we're going to have to go for the film that has proven that there is revenue sources to be chased wherever you look, and that is Uncle Drew.
Uncle Drew.
Yep, Uncle Drew. So obviously based on an ad or a YouTube viral video. So I really think that's where we need to start.
Absolutely.
Straight to YouTube. Or do we even go to YouTube? Do we go to somewhere more obscure? Like, what? No, we can't go to Vimeo. Vimeo is too high class and artistic.
And Twitch doesn't... No, not Twitch. Vine. Vine's dead.
Vine's dead. Well, see, Vine would be great because they're only 5-second clips as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be so easy to just go nuts with that. There's also Dailymotion, where if you can't find that pirated video on YouTube, you'll definitely find it on Dailymotion.
Never even heard of Dailymotion.
Go check it out.
Much I've got my finger on the pulse. What video do you reckon has the most views on YouTube?
I mean, they're all the videos that I don't watch. So it's like Gangnam Style, which I still haven't seen.
So
like I haven't seen.
Gangnam Style's not even the top.
It's not.
The highest rated music video is the one from Fast and Furious. It's like, it's been a long day without you, my friend, and I can't get that high. I apologize. Even if my voice wasn't croaky and a little bit horrible at the moment, I'd never be able to hit those notes. It's got something like I want to say 3 billion views or something ridiculous like that. And I'm like, why does it have that? And I sit there and I watch Paul Walker and he's in the family shots, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm crying. I don't even like this franchise, but it's pulling at my heartstrings. And I don't even know what the highest, like, it's probably some kitten playing with a laser beam. I'm not sure.
Probably. But I mean, do we need to go and chase that? Do we do like the very first video released on YouTube? So the very first video released on YouTube is from a YouTube engineer who posted a very short video about their trip to the zoo.
Okay.
I believe.
I think there's already a film based on that. It's Matt Damon, We Bought a Zoo.
There's also an animated film called Madagascar, which is about a zoo.
I think we just really need to milk the built-in audience of whatever the film happens, whatever it happens to be.
Okay.
Is there any way of finding out what is like actually the highest viewed video on YouTube, and we just take that, whatever it happens to be?
Or do we go for like whatever's trending right now?
Ooh, get real zeitgeisty.
Get really zeitgeist. So like as of this minute, I am contacting the Academy, who are now browsing YouTube.
And they're just sort of like, don't you realize, AJ, we're not here. Just like, you have Google, you have YouTube. These are resources available to you.
Are we part of the Academy? Do we not pay a subscription fee to be part of this Academy? You're going to be working for us, all right?
The next moment, George Clooney's going to call up and say, are there any Indian food restaurants in my area? It's like, George, okay, we'll look it up for you this time, George, but we're not just a search function.
Yeah.
You have this ability on your smartphone to do it yourself.
All right, here we go. So, well, it's not looking really great here. It's a lot of like the ending of Avengers Infinity Wars explained with a whole bunch of arrows pointing at nothing in the thumbnail. But there's also an Ed Sheeran video, Happier,
Okay.
with 16 million views. And something called the Pun Challenge.
The Pun Challenge. I like the trending idea. I still think we need to go with a solid built-in audience.
All right.
Because the ones that have 1 billion views are ones that people keep coming back to.
Yeah.
One that has an audience. If we can put a movie that they'll, not just watch once, but they'll tell their friends to go watch it.
Yeah.
And their friends' friends. And then they'll go back and watch it again, like 3 years later going, hey, I remember the first time I watched this video. So what video is there that has like 6 billion views?
All right, so the 15 of the most viewed YouTube videos of all time, according to the Academy, who are looking at a website. The Despacito video.
Yeah.
See You Again by Wiz Khalifa featuring Charlie Puth.
Yep.
Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. They're all music videos.
They're all music videos, apparently.
Gangnam Style by Psy, who's at number 4. Number 5 is Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson. 6, Justin Bieber's Sorry. 7, Masha and the Bear, Recipe for Disaster.
Oh, what's that one? What is that? I think even if it's not what I think it is, Masha and the Bear, Recipe for Disaster. It's got to be a fantastic film.
It is not a music video. It is not an official video, and it is in Russian. It's a Russian animated like kids film thing, and it looks like a kind of Goldilocks ripoff, like a Russian Goldilocks ripoff with really bad CG animation. I don't know. It's a Russian animated television series loosely based on an oral children's folk story.
And how many views does it have?
3,004,854,146 views.
That's a pretty big inbuilt
huge.
audience.
That is
there any way
huge.
we can just take that bear character and smash it into like another one of the most viewed videos on YouTube?
I like the way that you think. All right, let's see what else is on here. So we've got Maroon 5. We've got Shake It Off by Taylor Swift.
You know what I'm hearing, AJ?
Yep.
Is that whatever ensemble cast we put together
Has to be.
needs to have Taylor Swift.
Yep.
It needs to have
Ed Sheeran.
Adam Levine. It needs to have Ed Sheeran. It
Yep.
needs to have Wiz Khalifa.
Yep.
And
Adele.
Mr. Despacito, whatever his name happens to be.
Yep. All right, great. So we make an animated film.
It's an animated film.
Yep. Based on
A Russian folktale.
a Russian folktale. We'll take the bear from that.
Yeah. What was his name? Masha?
Masha. No, Masha is the girl, so it's just the bear.
The bear.
It's just the bear. And we'll figure out how do you say bear in Russian, and that'll be the name of our film.
Bear.
And this film will star everyone else in the top 15 videos of all time.
exactly.
So, Louis Fonsi, Wiz Khalifa, Ed Sheeran, Psy, Mark Ronson, Justin Bieber, Maroon 5, Taylor Swift, Enrique Iglesias.
It really is in the top 10.
He's in the top 10.
What song?
Ballando? Ballando?
They all
No idea.
So the question is, do they all perform their top 10 song
In
the film?
Yeah.
Or do they all perform original songs?
Oh, that's interesting.
Maybe one of each. And then we'll have like a Heal the World ensemble of like at the end.
Yeah, you know what we need to go back to? We need to go back to Shrek. Do you remember how Shrek took like the Smash Mouth version of I'm a Believer?
Yeah.
And then they did the like cast version of I'm a Believer, at the end when all the characters are singing the song? Yeah, we need to do that. So it's a cover of a cover. sung by the cast of the film.
Hang on, they're doing I'm a Believer.
In Shrek, they were.
I thought you were suggesting we do I'm a Believer in
Shrek,
this.
we do it.
They cover the Shrek cast version cover of Smash Mouth's cover of the Monkeys release of the Neil Diamond original.
Is it a Neil Diamond song?
I'm fairly sure. I'm a Believer.
Man. Okay, yeah.
So it's layers upon layers.
Holy crap.
And as Shrek taught me, everyone likes layers.
All right, great. And should it be in Russian? Do we need to sort of keep it to its roots?
Interesting.
Because like Masha and the Bear, from what I can see, is it's in. I mean, the name of the video is Russian as well.
Or do we just do like with Cyrillic text?
The text, yeah.
Or do we do what they did for Death of Stalin, where they just, whilst they're playing Russians, they just all keep their same accents?
The same accents, yeah, because it's just a bunch of American musicians, so they'll all be American. Yeah, great. I love that.
I do know Justin Bieber has some acting experience.
Does he?
He was in an episode of CSI where he was like 14.
Okay.
I think he gets shot and killed.
Oh, so he was playing a corpse. Okay. I also think that with the Cyrillic text, do you know how most of it kind of looks like the Roman alphabet as well?
See, to me, it doesn't look like the Roman alphabet. It looks to me like they tried to make regular letters out of Lego.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it's too blocky to be able to make regular shapes. So this A looks like it's kind of like we ran out of square blocks. I don't know what to tell you.
So we make it the bear, but written in those letters, but like what they're kind of representing in the Roman alphabet.
Yeah,
that'll do, and that'll give it the kind of like nice Russian flair that the world is craving at the moment.
Yeah, well, we like Kylie or Kendall Jenner.
Yep.
Will bridge peace between Russia and the rest of the world.
Well, yeah, as as of this week, barring any unfortunate circumstances, it looks like North and South Korea are sort of coming back together and sort of getting along now.
Jenner.
So who knows? And Pepsi.
Of course, by Pepsi Studios.
Do we need to get Pepsi on board as a sponsor? We haven't done sponsors for a long time.
That's true. We used to get Mercedes-Benz involved. Why not?
Why not? Like maybe if this is going to... So what if we take Goldilocks, right? So this is a TV show in Russia, so it doesn't look like it takes on the actual Goldilocks story at all. It's sort of a separate thing. It's kind of inspired by it. But what if we just took Goldilocks and the Three Bears... and told it from the bear's perspective.
And that's interesting, and I like where you're going there. But since we're sort of also loosely bringing in elements of Shrek, which took very Western known fairy tales, I'm sure the same things exist in Russia. There's a whole bunch of Russian fairy tales that we're not aware of.
Yep.
And we take that, we do lots of research and lots of very culturally sensitive appropriation of their things, and we just sort of tell it from the opposite perspective. In this case, it is the bear who I've never seen or heard or read Masha and the Bear. I'm sure is probably a bad character or a good character? Is he like...
So I've got it sort of... The Academy has sent me a random freeze frame of a YouTube video, and the bear is sitting cross-legged on a bench with what looks like a checkers board next to it, and it's playing checkers.
The Gary Kasparov of fairy tales.
Wait, but I mean, Gary Kasparov is chess, though. Is there a legendary checkers player that we can...
This is it. This is the story.
Okay.
The story of the legendary
Checkers Bear.
Yep. As voiced by who like Bieber or Ed Sheeran?
Oh, Bieber for sure. No, maybe Sheeran. Sheeran's got that kind of like every person friendly.
I don't think Bieber will be happy if we second best him. I reckon
you want to give him lead.
Because, I think Ed Sheeran's just so nice that he'd quite happily just be second fiddle.
I have a better idea.
Yeah?
Here's what we do. For the week that we're going to cast this film, right? So we already know who our cast is, but we're going to say we'll give each of these artists a week. Whoever, like, whatever the ranking is on the top YouTube videos of all time, that will determine
casting.
Who gets the casting. So Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber, everyone is in it. So we don't actually, it doesn't matter who it is. So it could be Louis Fonsi, could be Wiz Khalifa, could be Ed Sheeran, could be Psy, who doesn't speak English as far as I'm aware. Could be Mark Ronson, Justin Bieber, Maroon 5, Taylor Swift, Enrique Iglesias, Katy Perry, Major Lazer, Taylor Swift, or Katy Perry again, and Adele.
So
any of those.
So we take the script, we break it down by most lines, not necessarily even like lead or protagonist or whoever has the most
lines,
and then we just say.
Yeah, because it's all about quantity, not quality.
So the thing is, I don't think anyone's going to beat Despacito Man at the moment. I think.
Okay. Well, instead of like climbing to the first one, we'll just say like you guys have a week. Whatever, like whoever accumulates the most views in that week will get it. So like maybe only 3 people will listen to Despacito this week.
Maybe it's not that popular anymore.
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe Hello by Adele.
It had already been out for about 18 months before I even knew it existed.
Exactly. Maybe Raw by Katy Perry.
Maybe Masher and the Bear will have another episode.
Maybe we'll need to actually have
views.
the cast of Masher and the Bear do this film. I don't know.
And maybe some kid who's doing Avengers spoilers will come in over the top. And,
so it's like any video.
I think we've got to again go back to the inherent.
Built-in
but you know what they
audience,
did with Trolls as well, which was quite interesting, is that they gave all of the auxiliary roles to YouTube stars.
Did they?
So
that must be cheap.
Exactly. And then again, you've got your built-in audience just sort of coming through.
Yeah.
We'll probably even have to have a character called Vivo, because I'm pretty sure all of those music videos
they're all like Vivo branded or Vino, whatever the hell it is. I don't even know what it is. It's some kind of weird like music studio producer aggregator. I don't know. Who cares? All right, brilliant. This seems to be like the best way to make a film.
So
these
the thing
days.
is, I'm sitting here going, what about story? What about character?
No,
what about
it doesn't
plot?
matter.
It doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
Avengers is probably going to get like what $1 billion in its opening weekend. How many people combined have seen those videos?
Yeah,
we just need like $1 from each of them.
Yeah.
We're going to make $100 billion in the first weekend.
Don't these videos exceed the population of the world in terms of the amount of views as well?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know how many people in the world, but
about 8 billion, I reckon.
All right, so we're going to beat 8 billion views.
Yeah, that's all right. This is why we combine them. This is why the aggregate of all the views together.
That's right. If money making schemes have taught me anything, you just get the best of every ingredient and you put it all in one pot and then serve whatever comes out. So truffle oil, like filet mignon, camembert, caviar. Anything else that's super expensive, mix it all in one pot. Whatever comes out will taste delicious.
Yes. Are we going to bother with story then?
Well, I mean, it's about Checkers Bear. So this is like the legendary Russian like grizzly bear who it discovered a bunch of people discover him playing like, let's say he ate some picnic goer in the woods. And that picnic goer had like a portable checkers set.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're like, oh shit, that bear's actually playing checkers right now.
Yeah.
Because like in eating that picnicker kind of like absorbed the checkers playing prowess of that person as well.
I think I kind of prefer the fact if the bear just sort of figures it out.
Just figures it out? Okay.
There's a couple of examples of like, they discover some kid in India who has sort of discovered calculus on his own.
Yeah.
Because he just has a natural brain
Yep.
for mathematics.
Yep.
I like the idea of they discover, like the bear obviously has to eat a kid to find a checkers board. I can't see any other way around that problem. But in doing so, the bear's brain is just naturally wired for checkers.
Okay.
And it just sees all the patterns, sees all the moves.
Perfect.
100 steps ahead.
Yep. And then obviously it gets entered into the National Checkers tournament.
Yeah.
There's an antagonist there that they have to beat.
Yeah.
The antagonist is, of course, a jerk that you instantly hate as an audience member. And then they, at the last minute, get caught cheating, and the bear is declared the winner.
Yeah.
And it's,
I mean, I think that if you look at a film like Searching for Bobby Fischer, right?
Yep.
The actual chess play and the chess tournaments are auxiliary to the relationship that the kid has with his father, or the kid has with the chess master, or the kid has with Lawrence Fishburne, who's the wisecracking guy playing speed chess in the park.
Yep.
I think that's where we go with this one as well.
Yeah.
There's the tournament, there's the jerk, whatever. But really, we need to set up the characters of the wise chess master and the. Also, like, because in Searching for Bobby Fischer, Ben Kingsley plays the classically trained chess master.
Yep.
And Lawrence Fishburne, I'm fairly sure it's Lawrence Fishburne, plays the guy in the park who's not classically trained, but teaches him how to be creative.
Yep.
I reckon in this one we just keep setting up like different mentors that have different. So he's like, there's a classically trained chess mentor who might be played by all of Maroon 5, and then there's the one who's like, oh, you got to think outside the box, you got to set up, and then there's the abstract one who's just like, oh, think in 3 dimensions. It's like, and then there's the one like, so just like we just set up a whole smorgasbord
Yep.
of chess masters who can teach them teach Bear 1,000 different ways of thinking about playing the game.
Is it a plot point as to why there's so many checkers masters? Because checkers Bear is constantly eating the previous ones.
Trying to absorb their skills.
Yeah, it's I like the idea. Not that he's trying to, like, we won't use the absorbing thing, but just like he is a bear at the end of the day, and
yeah.
like while he has that natural prowess to play checkers, there's a thing in the back of his mind just saying, "Eat him, eat that
Yeah,
checkers
I mean-
master. He's delicious."
I'm not sure if the bear from Masher and the Bear can speak Russian.
But
But I mean, if we're going with it, he's a bear who just has a brain for checkers.
Yeah.
He still can't speak. He
No.
still gets aggressive. He
Yeah.
still needs to do things. So, yeah, why not? Like,
just like he's constantly fighting the urge to eat whatever checkers master is placed in front of
you
him.
know what else? Then we need is a subplot with a grizzly old police detective who's trying to solve
Yep.
why checkers masters keep washing up in the
Yeah,
river
yeah,
like
yep.
mauled to death, and then
Yep.
you have a simultaneous rise of bear.
Great. Yep. Great. All right. I love this. I also think we need our product placement, and I really think it has to be like Pepsi branded checkers board.
Yeah, so I mean, instead of being black and red,
Yeah.
they're blue and red.
red.
But I think also maybe the blue and red swirl, except the ones on one side are the old blue and red swirl,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the other one is the slightly new stylized,
Yep.
which you can't really tell the difference between the two.
Yep.
But for some reason, like, they are
Yeah.
subtly different.
That's right. And then Pepsi can go into a whole new manufacturing arm. So it's, Pepsi the drink, Pepsi the video game company, Pepsi the film production studio, Pepsi the checkers board
The checkers
manufacturer.
board. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's a natural evolution of that
There is,
process.
I mean, so much profit
Yeah.
in the manufacturing and distribution of checkers boards.
Yep.
You wouldn't believe it.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so we've got a cast, we have a story, we have a product placement for the first time in a long while, I
Yeah.
would say. And do we have the name? I mean, I sort of said that it should just be the bear in Russian, but
Can
maybe...
you ask the Academy if they could just put into Babel fish what's the Russian word for bear?
I'm just going to contact them on my slightly more portable device instead, because I may have a more direct line than the one I've been using.
I like that I'm now asking you to ask the Academy to ask the internet for answers to questions.
Look, as I said, we pay them our yearly fee to be in this damn academy, and they're going to work for our money. I can't read that. It's Medved. Medved. Hang on. Let me get the academy to say it.
Medved.
Very robotic sounding academy member there, but that's how you say bear in Russian, apparently. So does that roll off the tongue? Is that a good
Medved.
Medved?
What's the Russian word for checkers?
1 second.
Medved.
So do we want to call it
Medved.
checkers bear?
Checkers bear.
Shashki.
Shashki Medved.
Шашки.
Yeah, there you go. There it is. Shashki Medved.
Yep. Let's hear the full title, academy member, who is very robotic sounding. Oh, it's slightly different. It says Shashki Nesut.
Oh,
Шашки несут.
what happened to Medved?
I don't know. The word changes if you attach it to checkers.
It must be an existing Russian term which we've never heard of. It's like a first rule in Russian grammar.
Yeah.
If you want to say bear, just say midvid. But if you're specifically talking about checkers bear, it's nasut. I will not hear any of this midvid when you mean nasut. In fact, any bear playing any form of board game is nasut. The noun changes if he's playing any form of not video games.
No.
Video games is a different word. Not sports games, not outdoor sports,
no.
specifically
It's-
tabletop-based board games.
Yep. All right.
Watch
so
out for that midvid. Are you sure he's not playing board games? Oh, sorry. Watch out for that nasut.
it's too late. He's already been mauled. All right. So that is the name of our film. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it again because I cannot, but here we go.
Шашки несут.
There it is.
Anyone who actually speaks Russian, can you please get in contact with us and tell us what she's actually saying?
Yeah.
Or what midvid, like, does midvid mean, like, to bear? To, like, grin
I
and bear
don't
it?
know.
And maybe it was a
Maybe.
funny pun.
Maybe.
Maybe nasut means
Maybe.
something completely
Maybe
different.
the Russians are laughing at us right now. Also, if you're Russian and you're listening to this podcast, can you just sort of bump up our ratings a little bit? I mean, From what I've been told, you seem to be good at
Oh,
that.
yeah, exactly.
All right. I think that is a wrap on that film.
Da.
Shashki Nesut.
Shasky no sut. I still like Midvid better.
I do like Medved.
That's right.
Maybe we should just like break convention and just call it Shashki Medved
Yes.
and just watch the Russians like
just cringe.
just cringe.
Did
yeah.
you put that into Google Translate? Like, no, yes, but we ignored what it said because we didn't like the word.
That's right, yeah. Google Translate's always wrong. And maybe the Academy member that put it into Google Translate for us got it wrong as well. So that's what it is. It is Shashki Medved. Great. And I think that is a wrap. Housekeeping, as per usual, we are online. We are at moviefilmstudios.net, where you can find all of our previous episodes, some bios of us, and of course, Mafuzawudada, a database of every single film that we've created on this podcast. You can find us on Facebook, just search for Movie Film Studios, where we post emoji clues as to the trailers that we watched in the upcoming episode.
I have to apologize. If you didn't hear it in my voice last week, and for some reason, all the way up until this week, I've been a little bit sick. I was a little bit lax this week with the emoji clues.
Yep.
Rest assured they will be back, or they have been back, depending on when you listen
Let's
to the
go with
episode.
have been back.
They have been back. Whoa, the
Where have
return
you
of
been?
emoji clues.
Where have you been?
Again, I did a great job of doing.
did.
Don't worry, he won't get far on foot. Congratulations to everyone who.
How are you going to do Uncle Drew?
How am I
and
going to do
Kin?
Kin?
What?
See, this is the reason that people just. It's difficult.
Maybe we need to find a new kind of game to play that is a little bit easier.
You know what
for
I
us.
think might be useful is if I've translated this into Russian and see if anyone can possibly make out what.
That's a great idea. Let's translate every single film into Russian, and then it's much easier. It's a much easier game to play. You just chuck it in or call your local Academy member, and they'll translate it back to English
Academy
for you.
member. What does Shashke Mizut mean? It's like, don't you mean Nasut? It's like, no, we went Midvid. Shashke Midvid. Well, like, strictly speaking, it means checkered bear. No, we wanted it to mean checkers bear, that he plays checkers. No, this one definitely says that he's got a checkered past. He's like a criminal bear. Oh, that's a good plot point. Criminal bear, checkered past. Yeah, okay, so I'll put up the emoji
we'll see how
clues.
we go.
We'll see.
It just
clue.
looks like we've been hacked, I think.
Anyone who's made it this far, I think what people aren't doing is just going to YouTube and typing in new release trailers
That's right.
and then trying to match the emoji clues to what's there.
We literally check out the trailers that have
that's
just
like-
come out.
Spoiler alert. I mean, not spoiler alert, but pro tip.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do to get
It's
the
so
answers
easy
right.
to win. You could be winning.
Exactly.
Nothing.
All you
Fortune
needed
and
to
glory.
do is listen this far into the podcast.
Yep.
So congratulations to the 12 people who seem to make it this far every
not
week.
bad. It's
You've
not
now got
bad.
an inside lane to. I was actually even thinking of putting in like a leaderboard thing.
Oh, yeah,
Like
that's a good
assigning
idea.
points to people who
It's not bad.
make it. There's 3 people who comment every
It's
week.
fine.
So
They can get mentioned in the podcast. And this
Exactly.
film that we're about to release is going to. We're expanding into the Russian market, and that's a huge market.
Exactly.
They love cinema and culture and stuff.
And Steven Seagal.
Indeed. We're on Twitter. We're at Movie Film Studio. Great if you like bots. And we are on iTunes, Podbean, and any other place that you may get podcasts from. And I think that is it.
I think that's all that remains is to thank you all for listening again this week. I've been Isaac.
And I've been AJ.
Roll credits.
Watch me